Welcome students in another session of EPG Pathshala. In this session, we will learn about hazardous waste management and handling rules. First of all, we will familiarize ourselves about hazardous waste. Hazardous waste is waste material with properties that make it potentially dangerous and harmful to human health or the environment. The problem of hazardous waste is large and diverse. The hazardous waste can be solid, liquid or in gaseous form. The hazardous waste is waste product of manufacturing process, discard used material, discard unused material and commercially solvent or pesticides. Broadly, hazardous waste materials are categorized into two kinds. First, characteristic hazardous waste. Second, listed hazardous waste. Characteristic hazardous waste are exhibit to one or more hazardous traits likely ignitability, reactivity, toxicity and corrosivity. On other hand, listed hazardous waste are those waste material which are specifically recognized by authorities as hazardous waste from non-specific sources, specific sources and untreated commercial substances. The major objective of this session is to understand the notion of hazardous waste and the regulatory requirements for management, transit, treatment, storage, disposal, packaging, labeling and transporting, and also to know about the importance of manifest system and other record maintenance. Let us take out view about some facts regarding hazardous waste in India. According to CPCB, the total hazardous waste generation in India in year 2015 was 7.46 million metric tons from about 44,000 industries. The unscientific disposal of hazardous and other waste through burning or incineration leads to emission of toxic fume comprising mercury, heavy metals, causing air pollution and associated health related problems. Disposal in water bodies or municipal dumps leads to leaching of toxic substances in land and water, degrading soils and water quality. Need of hazardous waste management and handling rules. Rise in application and manufacture of hazardous materials and its evident disposable issue made way for the development of rules on hazardous waste management and handling rules of 1989, amended later in the year 2000, 2003 and with re-notification on hazardous waste management, handling and transboundary movement rules in year 2008. The current rules on hazardous and other waste management and transboundary movement of 2016 has replaced the older regulations. New rules distinguish hazardous waste from others such as waste tires, paper waste, metal scraps and used electronic items. The current hazardous waste rules would ensure resource recovery and disposal of hazardous waste in an environmentally sound manner. The rules make state governments responsible for environmentally sound management of hazardous and other waste and mandate them to set up industrial space or shed for recycling, pre-processing and other utilization of hazardous or other waste. Hazardous waste management and handling rules of Government of India, recent version 2016. The draft rules, namely the hazardous and other waste management and transboundary movement rules, were published by the Government of India in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in July 24, 2015. It was published in the wide number GSR 582E in the Gazette of India, Extraordinary Part 2, Section 3, Subsection 2. The official gazette does not include wastewater exhaust gases, the waste arising out of the operation from ship beyond 5 km of the relevant baseline. radioactive waste, biomedical waste, municipal solid waste. Definitions of term commonly used in the Gazette. Hazardous waste, any waste which by reason of characteristics such as physical, chemical, biological, reactive, toxic, flammable, explosive or corrosive cause danger or is likely to cause danger to health or environment, whether along or in contact with other wastes or substances. Occupier, it used in relation to any factory or premises, a person who has control over the affairs of the factory or the premises and including in relation to any hazardous and other waste, the person in possession of the hazardous or other waste. Facility, any establishment wherein the process incidental to the generation, handling, collection, reception, treatment, storage, reuse, recycling, recovery, pre-processing, co-processing, utilization and disposal of hazardous and other waste are carried out. Operator of disposal facility, a person who owns or operates a facility of collection, reception, treatment, storage and disposal of hazardous and other waste. Transport, off-site movement of hazardous or other waste by air, rail, road or water and transporter, which means a person engaged in the off-site transportation of hazardous or other waste by air, rail, road or water. Extended producer responsibility, the responsibility of a producer for the environmentally sound management of the product until the end of its life. Waste pickers, individual or agencies, group or individuals voluntarily engaged or authorized for picking of recyclable plastic waste. Procedure for management of hazardous and other waste. For the management of hazardous and other waste, an occupier should follow the following steps: prevention, minimization, reuse, recycling, recovery, utilization including co-processing, safe disposal. The occupier should be responsible for safe and environmentally sound management of hazardous and other waste. The hazardous and other waste generated in the establishment of an occupier should be sent to or sold to an authorized actual user or should be disposed of in an authorized disposal facility. The hazardous and other waste should be transported from an occupier's establishment to an authorized actual use or to an authorized disposal facility in accordance with the provision of these rules. The occupier who intends to get its hazardous and other waste treated and disposed of by the operator of the treatment, storage and disposable facility should give to the operator of the facility such specific information as may be needed for safe storage and disposal. The occupier should take all the steps while managing hazardous and other waste too, contains contaminants and prevents accident and limit their consequences on human beings and the environment, and also provides person working in the site with appropriate training, equipment and other information necessary to ensure their safety. The responsibility of the local state government is to provide environmentally sound management of hazardous and other wastes. The Department of Industry in the state is authorized in this regard by the state government to ensure and marking or allocation of industrial space or shed for recycling, pre-processing and other utilization of hazardous or other waste in the existing and upcoming industrial park, estate and industrial clusters. State government should ensure recognition and registration of workers involved in recycling, pre-processing and other utilization activities assist formation of groups of such workers to facilitate setting up facilities, undertake industrial skill development activities for the worker involving in recycling, pre-processing and other utilization, and undertake annual monitoring and to ensure safety and health of worker involved in recycling, pre-processing and other utilization. Import and export of hazardous waste. No import of the hazardous waste and other waste from any country to India for disposal should be permitted. The import of hazardous and other waste from any country should be permitted only for recycling, recovery, reuse and utilization including co-processing. The import of hazardous waste in Part A of Schedule 3 may be allowed to actual user with the prior information consents of the exporting country and should require the permission of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The import of other waste in Part B of Schedule 3 may be allowed to actual user with the permission of the MOEFCC. The import of the other waste in Part D of Schedule 3 will be allowed as per procedure given in Rule 13 and as per the note below the said schedule. No import of the hazardous and other waste specified in Schedule 6 should be permitted. The export of hazardous and other waste from India listed in Part A and Part B of Schedule 3 and Schedule 6 should be with the permission of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. In case of application for export of hazardous and other waste listed in Part A of Schedule 3 and Schedule 6, they should be considered on the basis of prior informed consent of the importing country. The import and export of hazardous and other waste not specified in Schedule 3, but exhibiting the hazardous characteristics outlined in Part C of Schedule 3 should require prior written permission of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change before it is imported to the exported from India as the case may be. Procedure of import of hazardous and other waste. User intending to import or transit for transboundary movement of hazardous and other waste specified in Part A and Part B of Schedule 3 should apply in Form 5 to MOEFCC. The user has to furnish information in Form 6 along with associated documents to the custom authorities. In case the importer is a trader, then the waste on behalf of actual user should obtain one-time authorization in Form 7 and copy of this authorization should be appended to Form 6. Once all the requisition forms are submitted to Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, upon taking up the comments and suggestions of SPCB, may grant the permission for import within a period of 60 days, subject to the condition that the importer has environmentally sound facilities, adequate arrangements for treatment and disposal of waste generated, a valid authorization and consent from the State Pollution Control Board, prior information consent from the exporting country in case of Part A of Schedule 3 waste. The copy of all the permission form would be handed to concerned port and customs authorities, CPCB and SPCB to ensure compliance. The importer of the hazardous and other waste should maintain record of the hazardous and other waste imported by him in Form 3, and the record so maintained should be made available for inspection. The annual return should be filled in Form 4 to the SPCB on or before the 30th day of June following the financial year to which that return relates. The sample of hazardous and other waste being imported for testing or research and development purpose up to 1000 gram to 1000 ml should be exempted from need of taking permission from import under these rules. The port and custom authorities should ensure the shipment is accompanied with the movement documents as given Form 6 and the test report of analysis of the waste consignment wherever applicable from a laboratory accredited or recognized by the exporting country. Procedure for export of hazardous and other waste. Any occupier intending to export waste specified in Part A of Schedule 3, Part B of Schedule 3 and Schedule 6 should make an application in Form 5 along with insurance cover to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for the proposed transboundary movement of the hazardous and other waste together with the prior informed consent in writing from the importing country in respect of waste specified in Part A of Schedule 3 and Schedule 6. Upon receipt of an application under Sub Rule 1, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change may give permission for the proposed export within a period of 60 days from the date of submission of completed application and may impose such condition as it may consider necessary. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change should forward a copy of the permission granted under Sub Rule 2 to the SPCB for the state where the waste is generated and the SPCB of the state where the port of export is located and the concerned port and customs authorities for ensuring compliance of the condition of the export permission. The exporter should ensure that no consignment is shipped before the prior informed consent is received from the importing country, wherever applicable. The exporter should also ensure that the shipment is accompanied with movement documents in Form 6. The exporter should also maintain the record of the hazardous or other waste exported by him in Form 3, and the record so maintained should be available for inspection. Illegal trafficking of hazardous waste. Illegal traffic of import and export of hazardous waste could occur from and into India if it is without permission of the central government in accordance with these rules, or the permission has been obtained through falsification, misrepresentation or fraud, or if it does not conform to the shipment details provided in the movement documents, or it result in deliberate disposal of hazardous or other waste in contravention of the Basel Convention and the general principle of international or domestic law. In case of illegal import of the hazardous or other, the importer should be re-export the waste in question at his cost with the. In case of illegal import of the hazardous or other waste, the importer should re-export the waste in question at his cost within a period of 90 days from the date of its arrival into India, and its implementation will be ensured by the concerned port and the custom authorities. In case of disposal of such waste by the port and custom authorities, they should do so in accordance with these rules with the permission of SPCB where the port exists. In case of illegal import of hazardous or other waste where the importer is not traceable, then the waste either can be sold by the custom authorities or any user having authorization under these rules from the concerned SPCB, or can be sent to authorized treatment, storage and disposal facility. Treatment, storage and disposal facility for hazardous and other waste. The state government occupier operator of a facility or any association of occupier should individually or jointly or severally be responsible for identification of site for establishing the facility for treatment, storage and disposal of the hazardous and other waste in the state. The operator of common facility or occupier of a captive facility should design and set up the treatment, storage and disposal facility as per technical guidelines issued by the Central Pollution Control Board in this regard from time to time and should obtain approval from the SPCB for design and layout in this regard. The operator of common facility or occupier of a captive facility should be responsible for safe and environmentally sound operation of the facility and its closure and post closure phase as per guidelines or standard operating procedures issued by the CPCB from time to time. The operator of common facility or occupier of a captive facility should maintain records of hazardous and other waste handled by him in Form 3. The operator of common facility or occupier of a captive facility should file an annual return Form 4 to the SPCB on or before the June 30th following the financial year to which that return relates. Packaging, labeling and transport of hazardous and other waste. The occupier handling hazardous or other waste and operator of treatment, storage and disposal facility should ensure the hazardous and other waste are packaged in a manner suitable for safe handling, storage and transport as per the guidelines issued by the CPCB from time to time. The labeling should be done as per Form 8. The label should be of non-washable material, weatherproof and easily visible. The occupier should provide the transporter with the relevant information in Form 9 regarding the hazardous nature of the waste and measures to be taken in case of any emergency and should label the hazardous and other waste container as per Form 8. In case of transportation of hazardous and other waste for final disposal to the facility existing in a state other than the state where the waste is generated, the sender should obtain no objection certificate from SPCB of both the states. In case of transportation of hazardous and other waste for recycling or utilization including co-processing, the sender should intimate both the SPCB before handling over the waste to the transporter. In case of transit of hazardous and other waste for recycling, utilization including co-processing or disposal through a state other than the state of origin and destination, the sender should give prior intimation to the concerned SPCB of the state of transit before handling over the waste to the transporter. Manifest movement document. Manifest system for hazardous and other waste is to be used within the country only. The sender of the waste should prepare 7 copies of manifest in Form 10 comprising of color code indicate in Table 1 and all 7 copies should be signed by the sender. The sender should be forward copy 1 to the SPCB and in case the hazardous or other waste is likely to be transported through any transit state, the sender should intimate SPCBs of transit states about the movement of waste. No transporter should accept waste from the sender for transport unless it is accompanied by signed copies 3 to 7 of the manifest. The transporter should submit copies 3 to 7 of the manifest duly signed with date to the receiver along with the waste consignment. The receiver, after acceptance of the waste, should hand over copy 4 to the transporter and send copy 5 to his SPCB and send copy 6 to the sender, and the copy 3 should be retained by the receiver. The copy 7 should only be sent to the SPCB of the sender if the sender is in another state. Records and return maintenance. The occupier handling hazardous or other waste and operator of disposal facility shall maintain records of such operation in Form 3. The occupier handling hazardous and other waste and operator of disposal facilities shall send annual return to the SPCB in Form 4. Also, the SPCB, based on the annual returns received from the occupiers and the operators of the facility for disposal of hazardous and other waste, shall prepare an annual inventory of the waste generated, waste recycled, recovered, utilized, including co-processed waste, re-exported and waste disposed, and submit to the CPCB by September 30th every year. The CPCB shall prepare the consolidated review report on management of hazardous and other waste and forward it to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change along with its recommendations before the December 30th once in every year. Accident reporting. Any accident that occurs at the facility of the occupier handling hazardous or other waste and operator of the disposal facility or during transportation, the occupier or the operator or the transporter shall immediately intimate the SPCB through telephone, email about the accident and subsequently send a report in Form 11. The occupier, importer or exporter and operator of the disposal facility shall be liable for all damages caused to the environment or third party due to improper handling and management of hazardous and other waste. The occupier and the operator of the disposal facility shall be liable to pay financial penalties as levied for any violation of the provision under this rule by the SPCB with the prior approval of CPCB. Appeal. Any person aggrieved by an order of suspension or cancellation or refusal of authorization or its renewal passed by the SPCB may, within a period of 30 days from the date on which the order is communicated to him, prefer an appeal in Form 12 to the appellate authority, namely the Environment Secretary of the state. The appellate authority may entertain the appeal after expiry of the said period of 30 days. If it is satisfied that the appellant was prevented by sufficient cause from filing the appeal in time, every appeal filed under this rule shall be disposed of within a period of 60 days from the date of its filing. To summarize, in this session, we will learn about hazardous waste and its types, including their management and handling rules, regulatory requirements for management, transit, their disposal, transport, storage and packaging as well as labeling, and also understand the importance of manifest system along with other record maintenance. Thank you.